we
I
go.
love being alive.
I know you look good. You look good. Shoot. So last week, Frank and I we filmed this gift guide for Long Island. Went to Bev's, got to talk with Steve. We put it up, and it's doing really well, man. Like it's we didn't put it up on Muscle. We just did it ourselves, and pretty happy with it so far. So it's
Really?
cool. Yeah.
Put it up for on whose platform?
Frank's, mine, Steve's. We collaborated with some of the
Oh,
folks
cool.
that we did it
Okay.
with, and it was really, it was a lot more work, I think, than we anticipated, but still, we had a good time. So that was cool.
Yeah, I trained at Bev's the whole time I lived in New York this last time, and it was a bit of a drive from where I live, but it was worth it. That is such a great gym.
Yeah, it's funny too because Frank was involved, and I was there just as an ancillary bit character. There was these kids, these young kids, these TikTok slash YouTube kids doing a skit, and they did it with Frank, and it was totally scripted. I mean, it was literally a skit, but it comes off when they edit it like a prank, and they were really open about it. They were young, and they have really big followings, and the one dude does pranks, and the other guy does kind of pranks, but it's more like if you lift more than me, I'll give you this money, and it's funny money. It's not even real,
Right.
but it's funny because it's like, I always forget how, Steve's a serious dude when it comes to his gym. So you got to be careful with that type of stuff. Thankfully,
He
it's
is
Frank.
yeah.
Frank, can get away with a lot, but also, it was in a controlled environment. Nobody was affected that wasn't in on the joke. And the truth is, if they would have done that without kind of clearing it or talking to people, they probably would have been just not just roughed up, but I mean like tossed out into like the next county. Like that's
Yeah,
those.
I know. I mean, knowing Big Steve as I do, I can't imagine him being okay with that kind of shit.
But again, it's not even like Frank planned it. They just came up to him, and the guy was like, the one of the kids was really timid. He was like, hey, would you mind asking him if he'd be up? I'm like, well, you ask him. It's your thing. I don't care. But again, nice kids. One of the kids was really strong. Him and Frank were going 1-to-1 on leg extensions. It was funny because Frank was like, God, afterwards, he's like, good thing we stopped there. He's like, my legs are killing me now. But it was fun. It was interesting. But
What's funny is it's something like that. I mean, Frank is used to lifting, right? I mean, he lifts all the time. I do, you do.
sure.
But whenever we venture outside of that tight circle of training that we do, especially at the advanced ages some of us are carrying around, it affects you so profoundly. It's like, do I even work out? I mean, I got this project I'm doing now. I have to do a lot of digging, and it has to be by hand because the conditions are such that I can't get a machine in there. So
Yeah.
it's shovel in a wheelbarrow, and what I do is I block out an hour because normally I'll do like an hour of some type of cardio centric work in the morning, and then I do like real weightlifting in the afternoon, and so I switched out my cardio type workout in the morning for the digging with the wheelbarrow just for an hour. Dude,
Right.
I am shot. My hands hurt, my shoulders hurt, my freaking ankles hurt, my abs hurt. It's like, what am I doing in the gym if I can't dig a fucking hole? I mean, it's
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 nuts though.
not.
Here's the crazier part about it, right? So you're used to it because you've done it, and I've done that type of work, and I've done manual labor. But a lot of kids now are not used to it. So when they
No.
have to not use a machine or not use something that's battery powered or gas powered, they're like the flummox, like, oh my god, like
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
horrible. And like, yeah, but sometimes that's the rewarding part of it, right? Is that as much as it sucks, at least you're doing it yourself. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's nuts.
And
It's
for me, segregating the hour is I actually over the course of a week, I get a lot more done because during that hour I am focused. I'm working as many wheelbarrow loads as I can get, as much dirt as I can move. I'm going to do it in an hour. And over the course of a week, that amounts to a lot of fucking dirt.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yep. Yeah. Um, so I was looking at this thing,
are you
and this.
adjusting my lightness? Because we're getting ready to close the window.
No, I can't. I can pull it back up. This
No,
is
are you?
you. This is you at normal brightness. This is you
Holy
all
shit.
the way down, and I have your temperature
Let me
down
close.
too. All right. Now I can pull the brightness back up.
I'm like in a dark room. That's
So
better.
I was reading this. This is like from a couple of days ago. I'll pull up the one from Mashable, I guess, but let me try to pull it over. Basically, it says like the headline is, this is nuts. Nearly half the teens in the U.S. say they are online constantly.
Wow.
I mean, like there's again, this is from Mashable.com. This is from the Pew Research Center is the one that conducted it. But I mean, that is crazy, right?
What's the
Like
percentage again? Half?
nearly half of the
God.
U.S. teens say they're online constantly. So I was looking at it's 13 to 17, and I'm looking at some of the stuff that they're on. Obviously, YouTube is the top, and then there's TikTok, and I think, yeah. So overall, 73% said they're on YouTube. Teens' most frequently social media used platform at least once a day. 57% say they go on TikTok at least once a day, and around half go on Instagram and or Snapchat once a day. Facebook is the least visited, but rounds out the top five. And Twitter or X, they clearly just aren't even going. Like 17% in Reddit too, 17% in Threads. Threads? It's still around. They're still there. Threads.
Still there.
But I mean, I'm just thinking about this, right? How it just. I'm sure there's a lot of effects it'll have, right? But out of the gate, they're not. I guess they're watching people experience things more than they're actually experiencing them, right? Like that's.
I don't know what I can't speak to their mindset. I don't understand it. I just know for me, there's a value for me in time savings when I'm interested in learning a little bit about a bunch of stuff. Things like reels and stories and those quick
Sure.
videos. I mean, even for a bathroom stop, I have gotten such useful tidbits of, I guess you guys call them hacks. Very useful information that I've been able to apply and get results from, whether it's, working on something mechanical, building something, cooking something, whatever. There is a ton of useful
Yeah.
information out there. You got to weed through the shit, to get
Sure.
to it. But
Of course.
what happens is, I cut it off. I mean, it is, I don't, there's a limit, maybe 5-10 minutes at the most for me. But I don't go out very much, but when I do, I pay attention to people. I like people watching. And I was at the local coffee place a couple days ago, and 3 kids, I could say kids, late teens, maybe early 20s, are sitting there having coffee at this little coffee shop. And all 3 of them are like this.
Mm-hmm.
They're not looking at each other. They're not
Right.
talking to each other. They're not even paying attention to each other. Why are you guys together? Stay home and do that. I mean, I don't understand. I never understood the bring your laptop to Starbucks routine where, you work at Starbucks. I just don't get that at all.
Yeah.
But one move forward is sitting around with your friends, sitting on a device, not talking to each other.
I know. How about going on
Why
a
are
date and
you
doing
even
that?
there?
How about taking somebody on a date? Like, I really cannot wait to see you. Blah, blah. And then you sit there and you're
Yeah,
texting each
yeah.
other. Or you're talking to each other. It's like, it's just nuts, man. I mean, but yeah, this was alarming. I mean, and from what I read, I think it says it's buried in this. And again, this was from Mashable. I'll put the link in the chat, but also you could just go to the Pew Research Center. But I think it's up like 24% or something from a decade ago. Like that is a big leap, like a
Holy
big leap.
shit.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, it's kind of like the work from home thing. So a lot of people were excited when that came about, right? Like, oh my God, it's great. And then they started to realize, holy shit, a lot of socializing or a lot of ideas or a lot of interactions that I used to have are now gone. And
Right.
it was a downside they didn't see. And I'm just trying to think of a lot of the downsides that we're going to see or these people are going to experience later. And I think it's going to be pretty massive, man, that I just don't know how, I try to, my wife and I, we limit our kids for what their technology use is, but I'm like, man, once they get to a specific age and time, I can't police them all the time. So how do you do it? How do you make them not be in this? I'd love for them to not be in this majority.
Well, there's two things that kind of cause the problem. One is, as parents, we don't have the time to entertain our children like our parents did, or well,
Right.
my parents did, your
Yeah.
grandparents. Okay, so we don't have that kind of time. So here, kid, entertain yourself. I
Mm.
mean, and I'm guilty of that. I did
I
it
am
with Max
too.
when he was. I
I'm
had
guilty
no
of it as
choice. I
well.
was a single
Yeah.
parent. I had no choice. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
so that primes the pump. Then what you have is you have all of their peers are doing the same thing. So how can you
Right.
make them stand out? Oh, you're not only allowed to use your device for 15 minutes.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
well, Joey's on for all day.
Yeah.
So there's that. Then what happens is ultimately you end up with people who cannot do public speaking. They are inept at keeping personal relationships
Right.
going. They can't run a meeting and talk about issues that are pertinent to their work, their job, their production, etc. They self limit themselves because they cannot pop out of this bubble of obscurity that is created when they live most of their life online. So the other problem is, where do you live? Well, I live in Manhattan. Well, fuck, what's your kid going to do? I mean, you got to take him to the park. I mean, there's no other place. You can't let your kid run in the streets in Manhattan, right? A young
Right. Yeah.
kid. So you have to be regularly involved.
Right.
So what's easier? I mean, it's the dead of winter in Manhattan. Where's your kid going to go? You're going to send him outside? So
Yeah.
now if you live in the country,
Right.
you live on a farm. Okay, all right, I'm going to send him to
And
work.
get out there and put the shoes on the horses. What do you like the
Weed
blacksmith?
the
Yeah.
garden. Shovel snow. I mean, do shit.
Yeah.
So that is a very, very limiting factor when you live in an urban situation where there is very little safe
Yeah.
occupying time to. When I was a kid, we left the house in the morning. My mother kicked us out. Then if it was summer vacation, you were able to come back. She would hand you a sandwich through the window sometimes. If not, you weren't allowed in the house because she was cleaning and you're going to fuck up the house. So not allowed inside. Come home when the street lights come on. That was the extent of the supervision I
Yeah.
had when I was a young kid. I was on my own. Come
Yeah.
home when the street lights come on. No cell phone, no pager, no way to know if I was still alive. Now, you can't go 15 minutes without checking in. Is my kid okay?
Have a
So
leash.
yeah,
Have a leash on a kid. I've seen people at airports with those. Oh my god! I want to scream.
on a dog
Like,
leash on the kid.
yeah, it's like this. It's like a coil, right? And it's just like I'm like, what? Like, what did we come? What did we come to? It's just so bad. But no, I'm with you, man. Same thing. Like it was, we would bike around and it was be back at a specific time. And I'm not
Right,
like, lamenting about, days past like back in the day, but that's
right.
the truth. That's what it was. But now everybody is so connected. And it's what Scatman wrote, back in before the phones, it was the TV. And I wrote, yeah, but
Yeah.
nobody was lugging around a 100-pound tube TV to their friend's house to watch it all the time. Now the devices are so small, not just video games, but everything you can play and just watch and just be entertained. But also, man, it takes away, your creativity. I know Joe DeSena from Spartan posts a lot about this. He calls them digital pacifiers. Hang on, here's Frank. Let me grab Frank. Let me see, where is he? Oh, there he is. Hang on. Hey, Frank.
Isn't that funny? We're talking about digital pacifiers, and then Frankie pops up.
I know. Well, but Frank isn't a kid. So no, we were just talking about like here. I'll pull it up if I can find
For
it.
kids,
So
digital
well,
pacifier, like give the kids an iPad.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I just read this. Where was it? Damn it! I just read this thing, this study. Here, I'm gonna have to go back
From Pew Research, and
from
it
Pew
wasn't a shitty
Research, and
study
it's
either.
like nearly half the teens say they're online almost constantly. I mean,
Yeah,
it's crazy, right? Like, so yeah, there it is. If not that you want to, not that you can read it,
yeah.
but it's there. It is. But that's nuts. So it's mostly they're on YouTube and TikTok, and then Instagram, Snapchat, and then Facebook. They
Hmm.
don't care about Threads. Who knew? It's still around. It's still bleeding money for Instagram. But but it's just crazy, right? But I'm just trying to think of all the things that they're going to miss out on because they're living on a screen. Wow.
There's there's I don't think there's any bigger change, or I don't want to even say evolution, but
Yeah.
it's just a bigger change.
De-evolution.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
just crazy because if you take a cell phone away from a teen, they'll legitimately they'll go into like have
Yep.
a fit, depression, whatever it may be. They're on the phone more than they are anything, more than
Yep.
they're in school, more than they watch normal TV. TV of
Yeah.
the normal TV is gone.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
gone. The way that we watch TV as a
Gone.
culture is completely gone because they'll have 3 or 4 different things going on at once.
Jeez.
But like there's no like going to the movies they don't enjoy because they can't use their cell phone. And that's a
Wow.
thing too. So because it's 2 hours without your cell phone. I don't think an hour, and I have a son too who's 16. So I see it. And even when you're out to dinner or you're in the car and you're looking out the window, you remember with car rides with your parents and you're like, oh wow, look, there's Brooklyn,
Yeah.
there's
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Look, there's a license plate from Indiana. Like they're on like YouTube, they're on like
Yes.
YouTube and all these other things, but it's almost like a third hand.
You're right. I mean, I'll tell you
Yep.
what, because in the fall, we took a trip to Pennsylvania and it was beautiful. Like the scenery was great. The
Oh yeah.
leaves, and I had to turn around and go, "Oh my God! Hey guys, look at all this!" Like they were like, "Huh? Oh yeah." I'm like, "Oh
Huh? A
boy."
tree?
Our
A cow? Well, fuck that. I'm
it's
watching,
our
19 people, climb a mountain.
it's it's our fault.
I know.
Because look, if you're getting on a plane, right? You're like, all right, we got your bags. All right, you got the kid's iPad. You got the kid's iPad because you know that that's gonna keep them calm for
Disaster.
a
Yeah.
couple of
Hmm.
hours. So it's almost like you're enabling them too.
I agree, man. I know. I was just saying. I don't know. Like we can police it now, but at some
Yeah.
point you can't. And I'm like, what then? And I'm also like, what are the repercussions, right? Of like, what are they really? How is this going to affect them? And we were talking about it mentally, physically, right? Because if they're watching people do
Yeah.
things, they're not going and doing them, and that's the issue. Like, go live, get out.
What makes it worse is as the technology, it, I guess I'll say advances, moves
Hmm.
forward, put it that way. Okay. They make it more enticing. So I just saw a
Yeah.
commercial for the new Apple iPhone 39 or whatever they're up to now,
Mhm.
and it's this whole thing about making emojis. All these new cool emojis that you can make. It's a new thing. It feeds right into this problem. So now they have another level of cool shit to do. So what happens is all of these devices in their minds, as they move forward, they get more advanced, they get more features, and they become cooler, harder to put down. So as we continue this, they make these devices so entertaining and so desirable that there's no way we have passed the point of no return. There is no way this current generation is going to survive without their phone. Not going to
But
happen.
Yeah.
look, we're kind of making that right turn too. Because look, when we did cardio back in the day for a bodybuilding show, and you're on the treadmill or the bike or whatever it may be for an hour, you had your Walkman, you had the same 8 songs on the Walkman.
The
You
Walkman.
skipped, And then you would talk to people next to you that would have nothing in common, but you were so damn bored and you're so tired. Now, like
Yep.
I was talking to Zach the other day. I was on the bike in the gym. I did a half hour. I was on TikTok. That thing, I couldn't believe how fast I did a half hour on the bike. I'm like, it was like nothing. I was watching, the NFL's greatest hits of like guys getting crushed over the middle and stuff. And then I watched Mike Tyson's greatest knockouts, the Hagler Hearns fight. Before I knew it, I was done. I could have did
Done,
6 hours of cardio. So
but I
That's
get
a
it.
fact. That is
Yeah.
a fact.
yeah.
You know?
It's
It
crazy
has
just
to
how
play.
everything is accessible to us. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's just nuts. Like you said, if you wanted to watch Tyson's greatest hits back in the day, you had to go find the VHS, or you had to be like wait for it to replay on some like ESPN. Like, it was
Right.
crazy.
Or go to
I'd
a
have to
bar
go to-
that's got like 9 ESPNs on and watch.
Exactly,
It
and just wait.
Do you remember
Banging
going to
on
the
my
video?
door. Someone's banging
John,
on my
do you-
door. Hang on.
Sure.
Oh, Zach, do you remember going to the video store
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, wait a minute, man, is Rocky 5 in? It's out? Who has
Somebody
it? Who's
rented
coming
it already?
back?
Oh, can I reserve it?
damn.
Yeah.
$2 because I didn't rewind it.
I
Seriously?
know. Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I did. That was
$2, like-
nuts.
I remember dating this girl and she's like, oh, let's go to the movies. And like, there's nothing playing. Let's just go to Blockbuster. And you'd get like 3 of the 4 movies. Like,
Yeah.
you pick 4 movies and like today's top 5. And it was so funny, man. Like
It was.
Jane's picks, John's picks.
Yes, exactly.
I used to love that.
Oh man, dude, I'll take a
don't
left
know.
turn here, but this is so I looked at the year in search for Google was just put out again. They do it every year. Here are some of the I got a handful of stuff. But this is the workout stuff. This is what people search for. This is there's another page, but I got to tell you, just like last year when we did this, I was kind of not really. I don't know. I'm like, what? So I looked these. I had to look them up. So one of them is the first one is somatic workout. That's the number one thing that people search for. I'll try to make it bigger.
That's working out while you're sleeping.
No, here's what it is, and I did have to look it up. So I'm not going to pretend like I was on top of this trend here.
Whispering? Is that the
It's-
whispering?
No, I think that's ASMR. This is somatic practices focus on mind-body awareness, often using slow, controlled movements to improve posture, reduce tension, and enhance neuromuscular control. That to me just sounds like Pilates and yoga, right? Like, is it just a marketing term to say do
Sounds
more?
cool.
I mean, yeah, but that's what I
Sounds like
mean.
mobility. Sounds like mobility training.
Right. And it does mention that it's like, okay, somatic workouts are conceptually similar to Pilates or gentle yoga in that it emphasizes quality of movement, body alignment, and internal awareness. The difference is that somatic often originates from the therapeutic and rehabilitative
Listen,
backgrounds.
man. If you want to make gains, I'm sorry, you got to get uncomfortable. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Comfortability and gains and working out and progress don't go hand in hand. You got to push yourself and get uncomfortable.
Yep.
I mean,
Yes.
come on, man. Stop being a snowflake. This is
Well,
ridiculous.
this goes hand in hand with the kids on their devices.
Yeah.
Nobody, like you just said, Frank, nobody wants to be uncomfortable. Nobody. They want to, and this is evident by all of the screenshots I take of those posts on Facebook. Number one, everybody wants a godlike body. Everybody wants to be, Arnold and a half. Okay. However, they want to do it without working out. They want to do it without eating. They want to do it without dieting. They want to do it without cardio. They want to do it without drugs, and they want to do it without supplements. They just want to wake up one day and be jacked. And like, what the fuck? It doesn't work like that.
We went from no pain, no gain, beast mode to let's get comfortable.
Right.
So,
And everybody looks like shit.
all right. So the next one is indoor walking, which I got to tell you, don't people already do that on a treadmill though? Like, or I mean, I guess
totally
the mall
guilty
walkers.
of that. No, I think it's like going to the mall when it's
mall
900
walkers?
degrees
All right.
outside and walking in the air conditioning.
I hate the East Coast right now because
Yeah.
that's all I did was walk with my vest and walk outside the park. And Now I'm inside. Yesterday, someone's coughing up a lung behind me. I'm like,
Oh
oh
God.
man. So
I
I
mean,
just bought a bike because I gave my other
okay.
one to my son. So I just bought a bike, a Matrix bike, the one that stands up. But it's like
Whoa.
it's not a recumbent and it's not a regular bike. It's like that. If that makes sense. It's like an L
So
shape.
What's
I gotta
the
look this up.
Yeah.
I think I've seen it, but I don't know.
So I
But
got one of
okay,
those. But
but at least
indoor
you're gonna.
walk.
That's the other thing, right? So this to me, like you said, it's first of all, and I agree with you about the coughing, and like I don't want to be around that, but it just seems like it's like a practical solution for people, right? If it's too cold or too hot, or they don't, yeah, you go. At
Yeah.
least you're doing some exercise. But yeah, I would rather like you. I have look, and I'm also like I'm spoiled in that sense. Like I have
Yeah.
the Aerodyne bike, I have a rower, I have a bike. Like I mean, because I use them all, I like them. So oh yeah,
Yeah.
and then Scatman made a good point. He said some gyms have those like tracks, like the walking areas, and that's look. If I had
Oh,
that, I'd
they
use it.
suck.
I'd
Those
use it
tracks
though.
suck. They're so annoying. I went to one at Crunch. Oh my God, Zach.
Oh
Meanwhile,
yeah,
people, it's too. You got to have a narrow ass anyway to walk on that thing. Like, and it's like people walk. They're on their phones. You can't
oh
keep up.
No,
If you
okay,
you can't even keep up a pace.
that's
I hate
true.
the
That's a good point.
serious ones, the like the militant ones. Yeah, those them with the terry cloth headband and the fucking and they're like right. Yeah, and they're
You gotta.
sweating, right? And they're dead fucking serious, man. Don't get in their way, you know.
Dude, I
I
knew
you know
exactly
I
what you were talking about as soon as just by the
yeah
fucking just by the
a
mannerism.
bunch
Yeah.
of if you look at malls today, very few are successful. Like obviously, there's some in Jersey that he's largely successful, but a lot of the medium malls have gone by the wayside here in Long
Yeah,
Island, like Massapequa, Hicksville Mall. Like, and you could walk in there and you see everybody like in their 60s, 70s, 80s in the Skechers or, the walking shoe and the headband and stuff. But look, man, and there's nobody in there. So what?
right.
Great place. I'm sure they don't get charged. I'd
No, when
rather
you go
walk
to
in the
what
mall than the gym.
I've done it. I am guilty as hell. When I lived in Florida, man, I would definitely walk. I'd get to the mall at like right at 10 o'clock when it opened. Nobody was in there, and I
Yeah.
could get an hour walk in, without dripping 500 gallons of sweat. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
and window shopping and whatever, it makes the time go by. But I'll be guilty of that one. I think that one's useful.
What's your walking shoe?
My
Do you have a
walking
specific
shoe.
walk? Do you have a
Um,
specific walking shoe? Because everybody,
flip.
when I go to the gym, John, it's like, what are you doing today? Oh, I got to put on my squat shoes. I'm like, squat shoes? I got to put on my deadlifting shoes. I got to put on my training. I'm walking on the
Here's my
treadmill.
walking shoe.
They must have like 4 pairs of sneakers to change into.
I pretty much have a pair of flip flops for everything.
Even at the Olympia, he was showing
urban
it.
sandal.
Even at the Olympia, he was wearing with no socks in the
Flip flops.
expo.
Yep.
That's an urban sandal. That's not a flip flop.
Actually, I buy them from a company called Fit Flop, and
Whoa.
Okay.
Fit Flops make amazingly comfortable shoes, all kinds. Workout shoes, squat shoes, whatever. But the flip flops specifically are really comfortable, and you can do full on walking cardio with them. They've got great support. They got a great heel, so I use them. That's my shoe of choice, especially when it's hot. I hate hot feet.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh,
So okay, this next one is I think that's a K-pop band. I can't say the name, so I'm not going to bother. But it's just a body weight circuit. So whatever. That's what I think.
Wait,
So screw it.
Seraphim
Don't forget
is
the
a-
lay.
Lay-
I
lay-
don't know. Yeah, I
Lay,
can't
I
say.
never sees two S's at the beginning of a word before. So
what
lay,
about shush?
it's probably a cool French way of pronouncing that.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, as you can tell, I don't have the golden tongue here. So
So what is
so from what I read, it's a K-pop band, so it likely
Yeah.
centers around something that they do: dance elements, high intensity moves.
I don't
blah,
like
blah,
it.
blah. Well, I'm not doing it, but Also,
I like
Paulino,
it.
I'll get to that question about shakes, I promise. And Ron Simmons, damn. So 28-day calisthenics workout. I
Listen,
did
it's
whatever.
cool.
But I you know what I did notice though? I did notice more, and maybe it's just my algorithm or my feed, more calisthenic based stuff coming in my feed. So maybe it's because more people are doing it, and it's I don't know if they're doing these
There's,
challenges, but
there's nothing wrong with doing any of this. Better than doing nothing, right? Like, look, I
absolutely
do a
no, of course.
variety of different workout techniques and different, not just weight training
Sure.
and such. So I do yoga and everything else.
Oh
So yeah, I
yeah,
mean, if you're gonna do that, that's cool. But
I'm
it,
with
it
you.
depends on what your goal is. If you just generally want to get to condition and you
Yeah,
don't want to go to the gym and do weights, then why not do a body weight thing? Sure. I mean, but you're only gonna go to a certain level,
right.
you
But the
know.
only
Yeah, but
thing the thing is, sorry, John, but I wanted to say I think it's great too. Getting up and moving is fine. The only thing I don't like is making what's old new again, trying to spin it a specific way, and that's where I think a lot of these things are just marketing slogans for programs, and that's fine. But let's people should know about it. Like a boat workout, if that's just rowing, just call it rowing.
Yeah.
or maybe it's towing the boat, like in swim. You got to swim and tow
Like
the
Jack
boat.
Jack
LaLanne.
LaLanne did that.
Yeah, like Jack LaLanne.
That's possible, but yeah, that's my thing. I'm glad it's great that people are doing this type of stuff. But the thing is, it's like, yeah, that's the only thing I'm like, let's just call it what it is. It's just annoying. Like, I don't even know what. Okay, Wolverine workout. That's a Hugh Jackman workout, right? Hugh Jackman's anytime he does a movie where he's getting in shape, people look up what he's up to.
Interesting, because he's what, 55, 56 years old, and
Yeah,
everybody's out of all this, everyone's looking up at him as a
yeah,
leader,
right,
right?
yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Because out of all the physiques in Hollywood, you don't see Zac Efron up there. You don't see
No,
any of them. You see Hugh Jackman. Why is that?
that's a
I
good.
think
I
because
don't
he was
know.
one of the first. He was one of the first, and he was really good, and he had a long run. He had a really long run on Wolverine. So
But the movie hasn't been out for forever.
No, he did that Deadpool Wolverine movie. Well, I guess. Oh
Yeah,
shit!
that's
I
what I'm
don't know if he
saying.
got back in
yeah,
shape.
yeah, yeah.
If he
It
got
must
back in
it
shape
must
for
have
that,
struck a chord.
I didn't see it. I don't know. Plus, he's a handsome guy, so I mean, it doesn't hurt.
You know what it is?
Yeah,
It's basically, if you walk to that rack behind you, Zach, with the yellow plates on it,
yeah,
it's pick that up and put it back down. That right there is about 99% of the essence of bodybuilding. Pick the weight up and put it back down as many times as you can. Then you get 2-3-1 chair workout, Croatian press, Wolverine. What is all of this shit? It's to get you to realize that, it's not pick that up and put it back down. I can do all of this other shit. And so it's really interesting. So I'm going to keep working out, and that's going to be good for me. When they're looking for a comfort zone, they're looking for a magic, easy button pill thing to take that makes their workout tolerable, easier, and more fun, rather than just be uncomfortable and get the work done.
Look, they're just looking, like Zach said, there's old stuff. Like when I did my infomercial, I needed some sort of brand, like a branding for the workouts. We had 45-minute workouts. We had 12 different workouts. It was crazy. It was 12 different DVDs. There was a lot of different
Holy shit.
workouts and stuff. So I called progressive resistance. But what
yeah,
is weight training? Weight training as a whole is
yeah.
progressive resistance, right?
Right.
So that's the phrase that we coined. So, I mean, what John just said, hey, Zach, how many WTRs you doing today? Walking to the rack. I'm walking to the rack. You know what I'm saying?
Walk to the
I'm
rack.
doing, I'm walking to the rack.
And I get it from a marketing standpoint. You got to set yourself apart. But to me, it just
Got it.
when I see this stuff, it's like I guess as somebody that's been in it a long time, it's like I just want people to know that a lot of this isn't brand new. So don't think you're doing something insanely novel. Like it's okay that you're doing something that is already been out there because the old stuff still works.
Yes.
And it's good to know
That's
that.
the point.
John, do you know what a deload day is?
I've heard the term, yes.
Yeah.
It's funny to me that they interject these terms, and some of them catch on, and some of them don't, obviously. But Yeah, the deload one caught on, and it's like,
Yeah.
who does that? I mean, for what reason? I mean, why are you doing half a workout? You know, I mean,
It's like, yeah.
you know, I come from the era like you, Frankie, and to some extent you, Zach, is that when we went to the gym, there was a purpose. We were
Right.
there for a reason. And
Yeah.
we usually had a workout partner that was, you know, on the same ilk, that we were there together to do this. We were going to work. And
Right.
the work was going to be hard, uncomfortable, difficult, and taxing. And we were looking forward to that. It is now completely the opposite. They're looking to have fun, to make it interesting, to add variety, to, you know, all this other bullshit based on like these stupid studies that say that, you know, walking with one hand over your head burns more calories than with two hands over your head or some stupid shit, you know. And that's what they all. I'm onto something there.
Interesting. Yes. Yes.
John,
I don't know,
what is
man.
a-
It's
what is an
everybody.
NSV?
Yeah.
What's an NSV? No, this is a serious thing.
Oh,
What
it
is
is?
an NSV?
NSV. I don't know.
Do you know what it is, Zach?
I don't.
A non-scale victory. So when you're not on the scale, so if someone's losing weight, so let's just say they walked 6 miles instead of 5, that's an NSV now, a non-scale victory.
God.
I don't.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing that blows everybody's mind.
I saw it.
You take all of this shit, all of this super cool new shit, and you look at a picture of the beach, and everybody's fucking fat. So none of this shit is working.
Okay, do you know what the Croatian press workout is? I got to tell you, I still am kind of confused as to what the Croatian press is.
You
So,
gotta find
I
a
don't know.
Croatian and press him over your head. I guess that's
man, that is a very
That's a
difficult,
limited
it's a very
workout.
specific workout. Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing it's a press or a raise of some sort.
Croatia?
That, like, yeah, but that's the thing. I'm looking it up, and I found a few different definitions, so I don't know. But it's like, well, how many different things can you do? Like, dude, there was the Arnold press, right? That's there's
Yeah.
been a while since people, you know, what else can you do with that? Like, there's that. You could twist. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't know what the Croatian is. I
don't
remember
either.
the Bulgarian split squat, now
Right.
the regular split squat,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Or you know, Croatian press, is that like an offshoot of, you know, a kinder, gentler form of dwarf tossing? I mean, you know, is it like, what are you doing? I mean,
Where do you get dwarf tossing from a Croatian press?
Where did that
how
happen?
about a Croatian dwarf toss press? Let's do that.
I mean, okay, I'll skip chair workout because I don't. Let's just say that's for people with limited mobility. So sure, look, listen, that's a great thing for
Hey, there's
people
an
that
old
can't
dude
move.
there's an old dude on commercials now doing. He's an old dude with a white beard, and he's pretty chubby, but he's got pecs, and he's in the chair like this. You know, I lost
look at the-
75
Good.
pounds this way. You know,
Hey.
Dude, look at
Good.
wheelchair bodybuilding. Look at Harold
Yeah.
Kelly. Look at all these
Yeah.
guys, man.
No, good for
True.
them.
Yeah.
So I'll keep the
That's-
chair workout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's good. Let's listen. That's great, especially for like. Look, I know a lot of people who don't have the greatest mobility for various reasons. So if they can do things that can help them train, that's great. The 2-2-10 method and 3-2-1 method. I'm guessing those are just what rep schemes or like, you know. Okay, from what I've read, it says this. It likely involves performing 2 sets of an exercise followed by
don't
2
like
minute
it.
rest and then another 10 repetitions. So that's the 2.
I don't rest 2 minutes. I'm not doing 2 sets. I'm out.
You ever
Okay, so-
see the people looking at their watch between sets? It's like I got 37 seconds left. I mean, are you seriously exactly counting down like a certain number of minutes before you're going to do your next set? Is that really what you're doing? Really? I that to me is just bonkers nuts.
It's weird. I was training earlier, and I went to use a pec deck machine, and a female bodybuilder came over, and she's like, "Are you using this?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "You can work in." So she was doing rear delts on it. I was doing pec deck. Now, usually the conversation, you usually have a conversation with somebody, right?
Yeah.
But she did a set, I did a set. No matter if I did a set of 15 reps, she jumped right on and did hers. So I was like, wow, like that. To me, I was like, wow, this is interesting because not a lot of people train like that anymore. So
Right.
Yeah.
there was no conversation. As soon as I put that thing down, she was in on a set. I was in
Boom.
on a set, and she looked good. So I was like, wow, that was interesting to me because, like John said, everyone's like got their Apple Watch set for I got 60 seconds.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
And so
Because if you go 62, you're gonna fuck everything up.
oh yeah, it's gonna
it's
be
a
all it's
waste.
that.
You
Yeah.
gotta go home.
You'll lose all your gains with Z. So this is what 3-2-1 work. The method is just a pyramid style. Okay, that's just pyramid style training basically. Set 1, 3 sets of an exercise of moderate weight, 8 to 10 reps. Set 2, 2 heavier sets, 6 to 8 reps. Set 3, 1 final set with near maximum weight for 3 to 5 reps. I just never knew it was called the 3-2-1. We just called
It
it.
isn't.
We just called it. Yeah, we just called it doing 3 sets of training. Like like that's it.
Listen, I'm sure when you train, John, like, you use 37 different techniques. Like today I was doing my last rep on pec deck. I was like, I came in really slow, squeezed it, held it. Then I did a couple of short, just quick reps. Like you use a whole bunch of different techniques when you
Right, yeah.
train,
Right. Depending on how you
drop
feel.
sets.
Depending on
Go by
right.
your feel, the ebb and flow of your body. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't
Exactly.
go.
Exactly.
Yesterday, the same thing, Frank. I was just training, and I was I was doing a lot of lower body, but I just picked up some dumbbells and just started curling, and then I'm like, yeah, this is easy. So I started doing some half reps, and then I started just changing it up on the fly. It wasn't like I was like, oh boy, oh man, I've already passed the 10 rep mark for my first set. I got to stop. It's just I don't train like that.
That's a good NSV. That's a good NSV for you.
You know what? NSV, a non-scale victory.
Non-scale victory. Wow.
Oh man.
If that doesn't tell you a whole bunch about this current society, nothing does, man.
Well, that's because so many people are on Ozempic now as a trainer. You can't point to the scale anymore. It's like what you've done, so you have to take it from a performance standpoint now. Like, oh, he was using 60s for 5, now he's using 70s. He's getting stronger.
Well, see, that's right there, Frankie. That's the thing. None of these workouts are based on any kind of science at all. It's like the 6 foot rule, where'd they come up with 6 feet during COVID? They just made it up, That's exactly what this shit is. It's made up. It's just made up. It's not based on science. There's no tenable results attributed exactly to that method. None of it. It's just made up. It's a made up way to get you to go to the gym to hopefully work out and not be a fat fuck. But it doesn't work. It doesn't do anything.
There is one thing that sets everybody aside, sets every workout, every diet, and it's called genetics. That's the number one thing. If you have genetics, like, all bets are off.
Right.
You could
That's
do the minimal thing. Like I just watched a clip from Ronnie Coleman, and he was doing he was working out as a bodybuilder for 2 years, and he was doing, I guess, a guy from somebody was interviewing him, and they're like, you've been working out for 2 years? He's like, I'll work out my whole life. He goes, but 2 years I've been training as a bodybuilder. And you had to see how enormous he was. Like, and honestly, at that time, he was not on anything.
Right, exactly.
He was just genetically enormous. His delts were like this and that. And I was like, and then you have these guys in the gym who are just purple with zits on their back and no hair and just like, wide waist and this and that. And they're doing everything under the sun, every sort of PED, every sort of steroid, and every sort of thing. And they're dieting and eating 7 meals. And they could never, ever, ever come close to what this guy looks like. And it's the same too. There's naturally skinny ectomorphs and endomorphs and mesomorphs. Like this, it's just a lot has to do with your body. You can only push it so far. It's your genetics. I mean, that's
but
the
also,
truth.
there's a caveat to that, Frankie. The caveat is intensity. Intensity is one of the most difficult terms to explain to somebody who doesn't get it. So you can overcome a lot of genetics with an enormous amount of intensity. Bodybuilders have done it. Rich Gaspari did it. Dorian Yates did it. These were guys that were not genetically superiorly gifted, but worked through their genetic limitations to be great. So there is definitely some overcoming of bad genetics, but you got to really work at it to get it, you know?
Not on the bodybuilding level, because if all things are equal, like let's take women's figure. You had Nicole Wilkins. Nicole Wilkins, I think she won 3 or 4 titles. She lost to Erin Stern during the run. But then came Sid Gillen. Then came Latoria Watts. Then came Candace Lewis. Now, here she was, genetic, and every single one of these girls had a better X frame, better look, this and that. She always came in condition, came in the same way she did as all the previous Olympia. But that being said, all these other people were genetically better. You had, I mean, it's just once you hit that peak, and Dorian, who beat Flex and all these guys, he out-muscled them.
Yep. But not genetically though. He out-muscled them by sheer brute force. That's how he out-muscled them.
So
I was just thinking about the clip you sent me, Frank, over from Joe
Which
Rogan
one?
talking to Derek from More Plates, More Dates. Yeah, it was an interesting take on just bodybuilding and just how big people have gotten, and both men and women. So it was interesting.
it's interesting how the general public perceived bikini. Now, if you're in the industry, you look at the women in bikini as just, oh, they're great, great shape and this and that, and people on the outside looking at them as too muscular sometimes, because for the general person, like, look, man, Mark Wahlberg is too muscular for some people. You know what I mean? It's just it is what it is. Or or some guys with abs, are, they're like, you ever go to the beach and you see a woman who's like, not in great shape, and she goes, oh, I hate the muscles on those guys. It's just like, you're never gonna make everybody happy.
No, you got to do your own
it
thing.
is.
All right, this is something else I found. So these are internet theory. This is just in the internet theory category. This is what people search for. These are the top 5, and I didn't know any of them. I had to look them all up. Do you know any of these? Burnt toast theory, orange peel theory, October theory, invisible string theory, and taxi cab theory.
Nope.
I have no idea.
The only thing I can think of burnt toast is that the carbon absorbs toxins, but I don't know how.
No.
Is this supposed to relate to bodybuilding somehow, or
no? This is just. I was actually looking when this is right next to the category when I was looking for exercise. I thought it was interesting because, so burnt toast theory is, where is it? Let me find it. I gotta find it.
If you don't do 8 reps, you got to eat burnt toast.
No, it's the concept that rooted in the idea that minor inconveniences or seemingly negative events like burning your toast in the morning can actually serve a greater purpose or save you from something worse happening later on.
Oh, really?
I never heard of that.
Could like dropping your hairbrush in the bathroom, because if you would have waited 2 seconds too late or whatever, you're in your car, you would have gotten into a major car accident.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's what's the other one? There's a couple other ones. Yeah, again, all of these, I had no idea in my life what this was. So there was that. Jeez. There was, where was it?
Orange peel.
Okay. Orange peel theory. If someone does small caring things for you, like peeling an orange, it's a sign they truly care about you. It's about appreciating subtle acts of love.
Really? My mother was the only one who peeled my orange for me when I was in school, like going to school.
I would have never, ever pieced that together. I don't even know why that's a theory. Like the orange peel. Like, yeah, you're right. Whatever. Okay. October theory. A belief, and this one I kind of can understand. A belief October is a pivotal month where life shifts, changes like new beginnings, endings, or realizations tend to happen. I actually like this better than using January, because no one ever uses, like anybody that uses January, like the first couple weeks, it's done. Like they're not actually going to stick with it. But I mean, October, I could see that because the weather's changing. You're going from, it's getting a little colder. So I don't know. I could see that being something, but I would have never thought of it. I thought October theory would be like, that I don't know, ghouls are going to come out from like under your bed and like, you know, like rip your insides out. Invisible string theory, people are connected by an invisible string of fate, leading them to each other no matter the distance or time, often tied to romantic or meaningful relationships. And the taxi cab theory, people turn on their light like a taxi indicating availability. When they're ready for a relationship, career move, or life opportunity, timing matters more than effort.
Where's the
Yeah.
drone theory? Where's the drone theory?
They didn't have that. And I'm like, why wouldn't you have, how is that not, it's still 2024. How did that not dominate every single search, right? Like the drone theory.
Where's the hold your breath until you pass out theory?
Yeah.
That's a new one. I don't know.
That would be a good one.
Well, I saw 2 drones last night.
Did you see any?
Did you?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm looking.
Are
Every
you?
night.
They're supposed to all be in New Jersey. Are you seeing them, Zach?
No, man, I'm looking. All I see is planes. I get disappointed every time I see a regular plane.
I'm
like,
shooting
come
one
on.
down as soon as I see one.
I've actually,
Yeah,
I'm wanting them to beam me up. I'm actually asking them to
Same.
come get me. Yeah, I'm like, come on, give me a
I
ride.
want to shoot one down and figure out what the hell's going on here. Like analyze it.
They had the best theory I heard was on Joe Rogan's.
What do you say?
They had a manufacturer, I believe, of I'm not sure if it's Joe Rogan's, but it was some
paraphrasing,
guy who was a manufacturer of drones, and he said, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said if a drone's out at night, it can only do 2 things. It can sense radioactivity and smells like gas, and infrared if they're looking for somebody. There would be no other reason why the drone would be flying so low, too,
Yeah,
because they're trying to see, and then they're like, there's no other reason, and the government would have, and they believe it's from the United States, the drones, so it could on our airspace, and I watched another video that when Ronald Reagan was president, there were a whole bunch of nuclear warheads that they had around, and that they were looking for. They were looking for them. I don't know if that was true, but these are all of the conspiracy theories that people are putting out on TikTok. Of course, you have the UFO theory
of course.
that
Yeah.
where there's UFOs because people are now editing the videos where the things are going
Yeah.
spinning around, and it's pretty funny how AI is like landing on buildings and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. This guy said that drones at night can only detect like gases and radioactivity and whatever, and that's why they're flying so low. But who the hell knows? Why are they looking in Jersey and around the airport in Giant Stadium?
Well, they're
but no,
supposedly
None of
around.
it makes sense.
Yeah, but they're supposedly around military installations. That's
Yes.
like the whole thing.
I
Yeah,
agree.
but I
Yeah,
don't know.
but that's airspace that they probably shouldn't be in, right? I mean, if we flew a drone there, it would get people have actually put their commercial and like personal drones up there, and they get taken down, and then those people get I think they get arrested. But I read that theory too, not the stuff at night, but that they are looking for potentially hazardous material.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, I don't know. Obviously, I don't know. I mean, no one's telling me. I can't believe they wouldn't tell me. They should, but they just don't.
There's all kinds of shit going on behind the scenes that nobody's paying attention to. For example, in where my brother lives in Virginia, near Washington, they're building all of these buildings. They're like 10, 12-story buildings with no windows, and they're going in all over the place. And it's like nobody pays attention to them. It's just like a regular construction job, no big deal. But why are you building 10, 12-story buildings with no windows, and a lot of them? What's up with that? Nobody asks, nobody questions, nobody knows. It just happens. So it's where the problem here in America. There's a. I think it's frowned upon or discouraged to question stuff. It's like if you were building one of these buildings in my backyard, once the second one went up with no windows, I was like, what's going on here? Why are you guys building these concrete boxes with no windows? What's it for? What are you doing? I want to know. And so far, nobody knows.
I like the aliens. I like to see the aliens.
Me too. That would be, imagine that, man. Oh, God, imagine. And also, what if they were like really cool? Like if they were like, not like the ones you saw on Independence Day, but they were like Alf, so somebody you get along with.
The fact that we're still alive indicates that they are cool. Otherwise, they would have wiped it out a long time ago.
That's true. But man, imagine Alf. Oh, I mean, although he ate cats, so there'd be a real problem. I'd be like, listen, we have to have a deal here.
He
Alf.
could live with me. We have dogs.
If you watch these movies back in the day, 20, 30 years ago, it's all coming, to a head now, like with AI and, and the Terminator and all these other movies.
Skynet.
They're all things that happen. Like, where do these people get these ideas?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, where did they get that idea? And then now you watch Independence Day. Is that the next movie that's coming?
I hope not. Yeah. I hope there's like a more friendly. Actually, I want to watch a friendlier one, so that's the one that's in my head.
Or are they looking for the jewel ring from the Titanic? Oh, is that what you're looking for with these drones?
Maybe they'll find the lost ark that Indiana Jones had in that first one.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Or Atlantis, or the Loch Ness Monster. These are things that I once solved. Or Bigfoot. Can't we?
Dude, imagine if they're pulling the Loch Ness Monster, like beaming it up. It's like, there it's been the whole time. Like, how could we not have found it? Look,
I would love to see Godzilla or someone like that.
Mothra. How about Mothra?
It's like we asked for so little.
You know what movies were amazing growing up, where they had the Sunday mornings, the giant ants and the giant bugs? Oh, those were great, man. Those are my favorite movies, man. The giant bugs.
What was your favorite cartoon growing up?
Bugs Bunny.
Was it? What about you, Zach?
DuckTales.
DuckTales. I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, it was.
What was yours?
I had two. They were even: Speed Racer and the Roadrunner.
All right, I watched Roadrunner. Yeah, I watched those. I watched a lot of like Looney Tunes and things like that.
Yeah. You can't watch half of it now.
Nope.
No.
The Little Rascals, a bunch of stuff.
Little Rascals was hysterical.
But the Bugs Bunny, that was the Looney Tunes. Forget it. The Roadrunner, all that stuff.
All of them.
Awesome.
Daffy Duck, they were all cool.
All right, listen, we've gone on for an hour. This is a good place to wrap. We got a bunch of. We'll get to John. John has a handful of amazing questions we can get to Thursday.
Oh, cool.
We'll knock those out. And I just thought those were interesting. And also, Frank, maybe I'll send you. I did take screen grabs of the pickle recipe. Pickle recipes were like hugely popular this year. I can't believe it. I know you're a big pickle guy now. Yeah, many of them. Dill pickle bread, pickle cucumber salad. Pickle Dr. Pickle Dr. Pepper. Oof.
That's disgusting.
That sounds so rancidly horrible.
And some of the aesthetics people search for, mob wife aesthetic. I don't even know what some of these are. Pillow face aesthetic. People are weird.
People are weird.
Yeah, can I say why?
People have always been weird. The problem is now we have the internet, so now we can see how weird they are.
Now we're connected to all the weirdos. It's great. It's great.
You gave everybody a forum to be weirder.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's Dennis the Menace, Stretch Armstrong, and the Phantom is on live as we speak.
Nice. They weren't cartoons.
All right, and sorry, Paulino, we didn't get to your question, but we'll get to it next time. It was about pre and post workout shakes.
Try Google.
Yeah, and also you want to know about high intensity working out. Listen, come back next time. It's hard. I can't respond on X. I've said it 1,000 times, and I don't know why, but I can't. So that's why we have to say it out loud.
We can't find somebody to tell us why we can't respond on X. Does anybody out there know? I mean,
it just says read only. Like when I try to respond, I don't know.
Can anybody else do it?
Maybe you know why, dude. Maybe it's because it's not. We don't have the premium. We don't have.
I know.
No, it's just too expensive. I mean, it's just
We're on our shoestring budget.
The old $12 a month is just too much, or whatever it is. Right. So we can't have all those fancy capabilities. But whatever. But we'll get there. And thanks, Paulino. But come back seriously and tell your friends. Even though we didn't answer any of your questions, so you have no real reason to tell your friends, but you should anyway.
Well,
All right,
actually, he
everybody.
does, because the next time we come on, we're going to answer his question so he can have his friends watch
That's true.
us answer his question. So we're giving
That's
him a
true.
heads up.
And I
See?
did put the link to the Long Island gift guide that Frank and I did. I put that into the chat. Please go check it out. It's on Frank's Instagram page and my Instagram page and Bev Francis, Powerhouse Gym Instagram page. And yeah, go like it and share it and comment on it. And look, we want to do more stuff like that. So help us out. You know, we don't ask too much. Come on.
We don't really ask for anything.
No, we don't ask for anything. We certainly don't get it.
Maybe that's the problem.
We certainly get it.
You don't get what you deserve. You get what you